And thanks for all your help in supporting and getting this all set up. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Mapping Machine Learning to Physics. Finally, we're here in Industry Day, Proposers Day, and really happy to be here and to kick this off. So my name's Holly Russo. I'm technical CNA for Mmlp. We have today just some quick comments by me. That's pretty much all I'm going to say. And then we're going to have Darren Johnson, our security representative, come up and just give a few words. And then John Bauer, our contracting officer, is going to come up and give some words. And we're also going to have a short presentation from about DARPA Connect. And then a quick break, and then we're actually going to dive into the meat of Mmlp with Bernie McShay, the PM. So with that, I'm just going to hand it on over to John, and you're up. Darren, I'm going to hand it over to Darren first. Thank you.
Morning, I'm Darren. I'm the security rep for Mmlp. My speech here is pretty short and sweet. So unclassified program. So Jennifer said already, there's no discussion, no note taking, nothing here that should be anything above unclass, including CUI. This is strictly unclass. I'll be available until about 1300 today. If you guys have any security related concerns or questions or whatever, just come find me. I'll be wandering around somewhere. That's pretty much all I got. So thanks.
Bear with us. Okay. Well, good morning, everybody. My name is John Bauer. I'm going to be the contracting officer and representative from our contracts management office. Before I really get into the meat and potatoes of the discussion, I like to sometimes get a feel for the audience and who's out there. I know I can't see the folks online, but at least for the individuals in the room, how many of you are with large businesses versus large businesses? Okay, and how many small businesses? Okay, anybody doing business with DARPA for the first time, maybe? Okay, that's good. Okay, good to know. Good to know we're what we're working with here, and appreciate everybody's support. And I'm looking forward to the program, and I know Bernie's looking forward to it as well. Just to get started, you'll see that TBD up there by the solicitation number. I think most often we have the solicitation ready and posted prior to the Proposers Day. In this instance, we happen to not have it. We're almost there, so just ask for a little bit of patience from us, and there's going to be some more details forthcoming. So just wanted to mention that. And along with that, a little bit more TBDs. Usually we've got some dates in here for the posting date and when questions are due. So really today is the Proposers Day. And then when that program solicitation is posted, we'd like you to pay attention to the rest of those dates as far as questions, when proposals are due, and those sorts of things. So along with a program solicitation, as opposed to a BAA, if you have proposed against a BAA before, program solicitations are announcements where we only issue other transactions for prototype. And that is what we are planning to do in this case. So those of you in the audience who are small businesses or non-traditional government contractors, in the next couple slides, I'll go through that in more detail. That shouldn't be an issue. Those of you who are here with large businesses, that may not be an issue for you either, but there are some nuances that you need to pay attention to in terms of being eligible to receive an OT. Okay, this is a little bit of a word slide, so I apologize for reading directly from it, but it is kind of some important statutory information. So So 10 USC 4022 permits DARPA's OT authority to be used only when one of the following conditions are met. There is at least one non-traditional defense contractor or nonprofit research institution participating to a significant extent. All participants in the transaction, other than federal government, are small businesses or non-traditional defense contractors. At least 1/3 of the total cost of the prototype project is to be paid out of funds provided by sources other than the federal government. So that's one of the nuances that may be important to the large businesses out there in terms of providing cost share as a possibility. And then the senior procurement executive for the agency determines in writing, this is in very, very limited circumstances, but she, Effie for Gogianis in this case, may determine in writing that under exceptional circumstances, they may justify the use of a other transaction that provides for innovative business arrangements, et cetera. So what is a non-traditional defense contractor? According to 10 USC 3014, a non-traditional defense contractor is defined with respect to a procurement or with respect to a transaction, means an entity that is not currently performing and has not performed for at least the 1-year period preceding the solicitation of sources by the Department of Defense for the procurement or transaction, any contract, subcontract for the Department of Defense that is subject to full coverage under the cost accounting standards. So those of you that are large businesses out there, you will understand what that means. And the regulations implementing such section to be considered as participating to a significant extent, the proposal should substantiate that the effort being performed by the non-traditional defense contractor is critical to the success of the program. So if you are a large business, we need to see in the proposal that you do have a non-traditional defense contractor or a nonprofit research institution participating to a significant extent. And it's the burden is kind of on you as the proposer to adequately display that and define what significant extent means. It depending on the situation, it could be it could be different things. It might be you have a subcontractor that is bringing a unique technology, or it could be dollars, or it could be the number of hours that are being proposed. So just depending on the circumstances, that significant extent could vary, but we do need some detail in terms of defining that for us. All responsible enterprises capable of satisfying the government's needs can be eligible for an OT. The non-U.S. organizations, individuals need an export license to participate as a prime contractor. Non-U.S. organizations and or individuals may act as subcontractors to the extent that the prime contractor can ensure that participants comply with any necessary non-disclosure agreements, et cetera. No classified submissions will be accepted for this effort, and the OT agreement will not require cost sharing unless the offeror is a traditional defense contractor, like I said earlier. And I think what we're going to do here is to help you out during the proposal generation process. Something that I do on my on some of my other portfolio work is post a copy of the model OT as an attachment to the program solicitation. And what that will do is give you all a chance to review those terms and conditions ahead of time and get comfortable with them, and then even provide red lines back as part of the proposal package. And so we find that greatly speeds up the process, rather than when we get the proposal and we go through evaluations and then I'm reaching out to you at the first, that first time, then giving you the model OT. It seems to us to really help speed up the process. So I think that's probably what we'll do here. And if you want to get even more of a jump on understanding the OT terms and conditions, DARPA's CMO has a website called Acquisition Innovation. .mil, I think, and you can go to that website, and we have all of the templates for all of our agreements. So whether it's the various types of OTs, cooperative agreements, et cetera, but you will want to hone in on those OTs to understand the terms and conditions. Okay, some more eligibility considerations. In order to receive an award, offerers must have a unique entity ID and must register in SAM. I think all of you raised your hand as having received an award before, so that tells me that you're already in SAM. However, please make sure that you're active in SAM, or if your company's profile is approaching that expiration date. Get started with updating that, make sure that's reinstated, because there could be, I've personally run into some situations where we've been in the middle of a proposal evaluation, and I've run my initial SAM checks, and the proposer is active in SAM, and then at some point during the middle of the evaluation process, the profile expires, and we can't make that award if your SAM profile is not active. And so that can be a delay in the process. So just double check the expiration dates there and make sure that you're all good to go. And then offerers must also register in the prescribed government invoicing system, which in this case is WAF. And if you all have received an award from the DoD or DARPA before, I'm hopeful that you're already registered in WAF, and that won't be an issue as well. In terms of competition-sensitive information, it is DARPA's policy to treat all submissions as competition-sensitive and to disclose their contents only for the purpose of evaluation. Restrictive notices notwithstanding, during the evaluation process, submissions may be handled by support contractors for administrative purposes and/or to assist with technical evaluation. All DARPA contractors performing this role are expressly prohibited from performing DARPA-sponsored technical research and are bound by appropriate non-disclosure agreements. And maybe a quick word here about handling competition-sensitive information. Just want to, we've had some recent questions in CMO coming from performers, and I don't know if this is on your mind at all, but I just want to be clear that in terms of the evaluation process, when we go through proposal evaluation or working with the agreements, we're not using any AI tools or anything like that to evaluate the proposals. We're going through looking at that with our own eyes, using our own evaluation. So I don't want that to be a concern for you all. As far as evaluation criteria are concerned, in descending order of importance, and we may have more information on this in the program solicitation as well. We have overall scientific and technical merit, potential contribution and relevance to the DARPA mission, and cost realism and realism of the proposed schedule. The primary basis for selecting proposals for acceptance should be technical importance to the agency programs and funding availability. Cost realism and reasonableness shall also be considered to the extent appropriate. A little information about the program structure and the agreements itself, but I think maybe Bernie may provide a little bit more detail. We're anticipating at this point that there will be multiple awards. We're not quite sure how many, but multiple awards are anticipated. This is a two-phase effort, so two 12-month phases. Towards the end of phase one, there will be a go, no-go decision process that we'll make internally. Technical area one will be for development, and then we will have a test and evaluation technical area as well, but that's mainly for information purposes. And again, Bernie will probably be able to go into more detail when he steps up to the podium. In terms of evaluations, DARPA reserves the right to select for negotiation all, some, one, or none of the proposals received, and to make awards with or without discussions. We also have the right to accept proposals in their entirety or portions of the proposals for award. So it could be the case that a PM likes one part of your proposal, and maybe one part of another performer's proposal. And so it's not uncommon that we do kind of partial selections is what we call it. And we might put that on the agreement as opposed to going forward with the full proposal. So that is something that we do have the right to do. And then we also will be going through a process during negotiations for the proposal to look at milestones as well, and seeing what those look like and get those on the agreements. We also have the right to fund proposals in phases, which I just mentioned. There will be 2 phases with options for continued work at the end of 1 or more of the phases. We also have the right to remove proposers from award consideration should the parties fail to reach the agreement on award terms, conditions, or cost or price. At this point, with regard to fundamental research, we are anticipating that this will be 6-1 funding or basic research. And so I think that the first bullet there says indicate in the proposal whether the scope of research is fundamental or not. So that's what we're anticipating. So hopefully we're in alignment there. And this is not relevant for this case, but that second bullet, if there happens to be anything that is not fundamental, there may be a pre-publication approval that would be required. Not necessarily a prohibition for publication. It just needs to go through our DISTAR review process. And I personally have never been involved in a situation where we have not approved something for publication. Okay, let's see here. I think I already mentioned a lot of this. We're not anticipating this to be a classified effort at this moment, as Darren, I think, mentioned in his opening remarks. However, if there should be any classified information that you want to submit, we're not anticipating the need for that. An unclassified email should be sent to the program solicitation mailbox requesting any submission instructions. But at this point, we're not anticipating the need for any of that. At this point, also with regard to FFRDCs, we are discouraging proposals from those entities. UARCs and FFRDCs interested in the solicitation, either as a prime or a sub, should contact the agency point of contact listed for more information on how it would be best to participate in the program. Regarding organizational conflicts of interest, without prior approval or waiver from DARPA Deputy Director, a contractor cannot simultaneously provide scientific, engineering, technical assistance, or CETA support, and also be a technical performer. The proposer must address in the proposal if you're providing CETA or similar support to DARPA Technical Office through an active contract or subcontract. And contact DARPA in advance of submitting that proposal if you know that you're in a situation where your company is providing CETA support, but you also want to participate in a performer capacity. In terms of proposal requirements, again, I mentioned that there will be more detail in the program solicitation, but just some real brief details here. The volume 1 for technical and management will have 3 sections: administrative, a summary of the proposal with some good narrative detail in there, and then some detailed proposal information in section 3. Volume 2 for the cost proposal, we will ask for an Microsoft Excel format with formulas intact. A cost breakdown to include direct labor, indirect rates, ODCs, material, etc. And then any subcontractor proposals that may be submitted with your prime proposal, we ask that those are submitted in the same level of detail as the prime contractor. So please be prepared for that and communicate with your subcontractors accordingly. A few possible administrative considerations that I'd like to call out. I mentioned in a couple slides ago that possible organizational conflict of interest. If you have any CETA work, but you also want to be a performer on the program, just a possibility that could come into play. Also, I mentioned earlier your SAM registration. Do also make sure that your online reps and certs within your SAM profile are current. So if there's been any maybe any changes, if you were a small business and maybe you've graduated to a large business, some of those things, just make sure all of that is current at the time of proposal. Make sure that you are registered in WAF and also iEdison, but I think all of you mentioned that you have received an award from DARPA before, so I expect that probably won't be a concern. We're not anticipating human subject research or animal use on this program. There may be subcontracting opportunities. So as I said before, when you're putting your proposals together, please make sure that you have the same level of detail for your subcontractors as you do for your own organization. And also make sure that information is available. Sometimes a subcontractor for reasons they might not want to show you all of their information if they feel that it's of a competitive nature, and that's fine. If they don't want to show all of their detail, all of their indirect rates, etc., they can submit that directly to us, and we can work through that process together. So this being a program solicitation and OTs, cost accounting standards are not a concern when awarding an OT. There may be NIST 800 requirements, and it's possible that we're not anticipating, since this is basic research, we're not anticipating any CUI or CTI at this point, but we may have some terms in the agreement in the event that during the course of research, maybe some CUI or CTI is developed, and we need to act accordingly. So that just a reminder that might come into play at some point during the process. Regarding intellectual property, identify, this is a DFARS reference. Even though we're working with OTs, the OTs are technically outside the confines of the FAR and DFARS entirely, but we just include this reference for a little bit of perspective. Identify all non-commercial and commercial technical data and computer software to be generated, developed, and or delivered to which the government will receive less than unlimited rights and assert specific restrictions on those deliverables. Assertions will be required for primes and subcontractors as well. Use the defined basis of assertion and asserted rights category, and make that justification in the basis of assertion box. There should be a chart that we'll include in there for you. I'll try to avoid broad and vague assertions, and be as specific as possible. It could be as specific. I know we're dealing with some IT related aspects here, and it could be as specific as a certain line of code or something like that. So it really is important to be as specific as you can with any relevant assertions. And also another point that I want to make here is that any data rights assertions or IP assertions are with regard to anything that is ultimately delivered to the government. So if there is something that is just being used in performance of the work but not being delivered to the government, that would not be an assertion that would go into the agreement. So it's only technical data and computer software that's ultimately being delivered to the government. And that might be a deliverable. It could be something in a report. So it could come in various forms, but that's a distinction that we like to make all the time. With regard to patents, include documentation proving your ownership or possession of appropriate license rights to all patented inventions that will be utilized under the proposal for the DARPA program. With regard to iEdison, all patent reports and notifications should be submitted electronically through this avenue. Please refer to guidance in the program announcement regarding how to submit questions. After receipt of proposals, the government may communicate with proposers to understand the meaning of some. We might come back to you with some clarifying questions, that sort of thing. And that's what that gets to. So after we receive proposals, we have an opportunity to review them. We might go through a little time period of question and answers. Only a duly authorized contracting officer may obligate the government. So in this case, that would be myself. So if we end up awarding to any of you in the audience or virtually or in attendance today, I would be the only individual authorized to obligate the government. Bernie, you know, it's possible that you may have discussions throughout the course of performance. Bernie is well aware of this, but just want to mention this to you all as well. If you're talking to a PM about maybe some new work or maybe going in a different direction, that sort of thing, or any aspect that may not be quite within the current scope of your agreement, please make sure to work that back through Bernie and ultimately up to myself to make sure that gets on the agreement. Because it's important that at the end of the day, the agreement is what binds us, and so we wouldn't want you to be doing anything outside the scope of your agreement. So it's just important to make sure that all of those well-meaning conversations work their way back up to the contracts management office and get onto the agreement, and that we modify it accordingly. Informal feedback will be provided upon request once selections are made. And that we're not intending at this point to provide formal debriefings. A couple recommendations. This I think should be a little bit obvious, but please read the program announcement in its entirety. We put all of the details in there for a specific reason, so we really need you to read that carefully, whether it's aspects of the program, technical aspects, or it could be font size or page counts, all of those things. We would hate to have an issue where we miss on some of those details, and we've got otherwise an awesome solution, but a non-conforming proposal. So please make sure to read the program announcement in its entirely and pay attention to all those details. Pay special attention to evaluation criteria. Any proposal instructions include those representations and certifications that I mentioned a couple slides ago. If there are any templates or checklists provided, please take advantage of those. I think we'll have I did mention the Model OT template that is available on the Acquisition Innovation website, and we'll probably post one with the program announcement as well, so take a look at that. Also the Excel cost proposal template. Please pay attention to that, and if you have any issues, let us know. We don't have the dates at this point, but when we post that program announcement, please submit questions by the due date, because we will mention a specific due date and time. Also be detailed and thorough in your proposal, and then write that proposal with the evaluation criteria in mind that I mentioned earlier in the slides. Okay, so with regard to OTs, have any of you received an OT before? Can I get a quick show of hands? Okay, great. So many of you are comfortable with an OT. If you're a small business, you may enjoy an OT because they are, I would say, more along the lines of commercial terms and conditions, which we think is an advantage. So we don't have a lot of those administrative burdens that we might with a FAR-based contract. And really, there's a lot of flexibility. Technically speaking, we can really negotiate on anything that's in the four corners of that agreement, so to speak. So we like to use a lot of OTs here at DARPA. And like that second bullet says, many of you might be commercial businesses, and so you're familiar with those commercial-like terms and conditions. If you'd like to learn more about OTs, one of my colleagues, Sana, will talk in a little bit more detail in a couple minutes, but we do have the DARPA Connect website. So if you're not registered, I recommend that you go ahead and get registered for DARPA Connect. And there's the link for the acquisition innovation, acquisitioninnovation.darpa.mil. So I was incorrect a little bit earlier on the website. Just a quick slide here to give you an idea of what the agreement itself will look like. You can check out the terms and conditions on acquisition innovation, but a lot of these standard articles are going to be in place that you're probably already familiar with. And then as far as attachments go, we'll have a task description document, which is kind of like your statement of work. Report requirements. Oh, that's really small. Oh my gosh. Schedule of milestones and payments, agreements, the AOR delegation memo, and then if there's any property involved, there might not be any property involved in this acquisition, but if there's any property or equipment, I think recently the threshold changed to $10,000 and above. We would go ahead and list that as one of the attachments to the agreement. And that's it. So I do want to give, before I get off the podium here, I do want to give a quick plug for DARPA Connect. I have been involved in a few of the events around the country, the DARPA Connect events. And if you're not already registered or involved, I really recommend that you do get registered. If you're just looking at the website itself, there's a lot of curriculum, specific curriculums on putting proposals together, working with the different types of agreements, that sort of thing. And then if you have an opportunity to get involved in any of the pop-ups, we've got one coming up next month in Bozeman, Montana, and then I think December is Seattle. Not sure about 2026 yet, but do recommend DARPA Connect. And with that, I'll turn it over to Sana.
Hi, good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon, good morning, everyone. My name is Sana. I'm with DARPA Connect. Before I start, I apologize for my voice. It's only day 2 of school, but I've been yelling at my kids already a lot. So I apologize if I go hoarse. That's why I have my water up here. As John mentioned, I'm with the DARPA Connect team. I can keep going. DARPA Connect is a program that was created about 3 years ago, really with the purpose of helping you along your DARPA journey. So from the looks of it, it sounds like most of you have done some work with DARPA before or with the DoD before. And so perhaps some of the 101 level content that I'll share with you isn't super applicable to you. But certainly if you're looking to fine tune your approach, you need a refresher, you would like to strengthen some of your relationships with DARPA, I think you'll find that there's something in here for everyone. So with that, let's jump in. Broadly speaking, the resources that John referenced that are designed to kind of help you work with DARPA, succeed with DARPA, these resources can be broken into the 4 bubbles that you see here in front of you. Regional and virtual events that we host throughout the country. As you heard, we'll be in Montana next. Networking opportunities, these are both online and in person, really for you to get to know each other for teaming purposes, but also really to get to know our team and to get to know DARPA. DARPA is constantly changing. We have PMs in and out of the building. You might have done some work with DARPA, a few years ago, and then now if you come back to DARPA, you might find that it's changed a lot. So for things like that, we host a lot of networking sessions as well. Training and development, that 3rd bubble, this is the curriculum that John just mentioned. These are a fully online set of learning modules that you can take at your own pace. And then finally, the customized support and mentoring. This is kind of the crowning jewel, I'm told, of DARPA Connect. This is where you can avail one-on-one time for yourself, for your team, with somebody from our team, really as you're looking for more direction about what else you should be doing at DARPA. You have a meeting coming up with a PM, how do you prepare for it, things of that nature. So everything I talk about is available at darpaconnect.us, and I hope you'll join us there. We also have a LinkedIn group. If you are on LinkedIn and you prefer getting information through LinkedIn, please, you can scan that QR code and it'll take you right over there. It's where we like to share information about upcoming events, one-on-one sessions, things like that. If you don't have LinkedIn, don't worry. When you sign up for your DARPA Connect account, you will be automatically subscribed to get a weekly email from us about when those events and things are happening. I am the one who sends the emails. I promise I don't spam you. I just like to keep you apprised of when things are happening that I think you'll find interesting. And then on the left-hand side, that's just what you'll see when you create your account. Very easy to use. Some tabs up front for things like events, learning modules, one-on-one sessions, things like that. All right, let's start with the pop-ups. John has been to quite a few, right, John? No? And oh, there he is. Oh my God, there he is on the bottom photo right there. What a great picture of you, John. We, in our attempt to really demystify what it means to work with DARPA, provide guided pathways for you into the agency, get you the latest information, and really help you build those relationships with the DARPA team, with PMs from across the 6 tech offices. We can't really do that sitting here in Arlington, although I do live here and it's very convenient for me. And so to that end, we've been taking DARPA all across the country. We've been in Minnesota in February, great time to be in Minnesota, in Arizona, we've been in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. We were in Huntsville last in May, and then coming up next month, we're going to be in Bozeman, Montana. If you've never been to Montana, I've never been to Montana. I hear it's a gorgeous time to be up there. So if you are available and you have a day or two to spare to spend with DARPA, I would highly, highly encourage you to attend one of these. These are full day sessions that cover the breadth of a DARPA journey. I won't go through all the sessions, but you can read some of them listed up here on the screen. We also fly out a pretty hefty DARPA contingency. So we have folks from across the 6 DARPA tech offices that come, PMs from each of the 6 tech offices, contracts management is there, security, small business programs office. So if you are able to join us in person for one of these, I can't encourage you more to do that. I will be in Bozeman. I think it's shaping up to be really fantastic. If you are not able to attend in person, we do have a virtual option as well. And as of this week, we did post our agenda. So if you're going to be attending virtually and you don't want to spend all day on Zoom, you certainly can check out the agenda and see which sessions would be most helpful for you. And then as John mentioned, we'll be rounding out the year in Seattle. I think that says November, but he's right. We will be there in December. So if we don't see you in Bozeman, I hope to see you in Seattle, Washington. The DARPA Connect curriculum, this is a fully online, on-demand set of learning modules. So when I say on-demand, what I mean is that you can take these in any order that you like. I think most of you will probably skip over the DARPA 101. It sounds like you're all, dare I say, seasoned experts with all things DARPA. But maybe there's a curriculum module on OTs. There's one on IP, on intellectual property at DARPA. Some of the modules that have been getting a lot of traction recently have been, I don't know if it's listed up there, but there's one on global participation at DARPA. So if you're not a US citizen, you're not a green card holder, can you still work with DARPA and what does that look like? The other one that we see get a lot of love is the Heilmeyer Catechism. The Heilmeyer is the communications framework in which DARPA likes to receive your ideas. There's a curriculum module on that. We can certainly help spend some time with you on those one-on-one sessions, but really these are a great resource and you do get a certificate at the end of each one of these modules if that excites you. Up next is the Connect Corner. This is just the online virtual side of DARPA Connect. It's where we host our monthly webinars and Ask Me Anything sessions. The one that I want to call your attention to here is that bottom-most, square right at the bottom called the Open Mic. This is our newest event that we do. It happens once a month. It's only 30 minutes. And in that 30 minutes, we run through every open opportunity across the 6 tech offices at DARPA. So we like to call it, fast-paced, no fluff. We speak for about 10 minutes and tell you all the new programs, the different funding pathways. And then we have a PM who's our guest spotlight each month. This month, we're going to be hosting Simon Klink from the Contracts Management Office. He will be talking about the ARIS marketplace. If you have heard of it, it's DARPA's video submission marketplace. So rather than submitting a proposal in words, you submit a 7-minute pitch video to DARPA ARIS, and Simon has really been architecting that platform. So he will be our guest for this next session in September, and then we leave the last 10 minutes or so for open Q&A. So if you are able to attend any of these online sessions, definitely make time for the open mic. The next one is next week on Thursday, September 4th, for about 30 minutes. So hopefully we'll see you there. And we actually do have a webinar coming up tomorrow as well. So the one tomorrow is on teaming at DARPA, really building teams, cross-functional teams at DARPA, and the way that DARPA likes to see those structured, what's worked well, what hasn't worked well. We're going to have 2 PMs there, as well as Mac Rich from Contracts Management. So again, lots of cool online events coming up as well that you can get involved with. And then the last thing I'll talk about are these one-on-one sessions that we offer. I mentioned at the top of my brief that these are really the kind of crowning jewel at DARPA Connect. We found that these are the most popular offering. When I started at DARPA Connect about 2 years ago, we were offering these sessions once a month. We've now gone to several times a week, and they're still getting filled up very quickly, as you can imagine, which is why you need to sign up for those emails so that I can tell you when they're happening. But it's a really nice way to walk through your specific individual questions about working with the agency. I think this next slide covers some of the topics that we tend to cover in these sessions. I've done some work with DARPA before. I'm now back at DARPA. Who should I be talking to? What's the right office? What's the right point of contact for me? Maybe you have an idea that's different from the one that you'll be proposing to here for this program, and you're wondering who is the right PM. Does DARPA have a program that's currently covering those? Those are types of things that we can cover in these one-on-one sessions. And then, as I mentioned, the Heilmeier Catechism. If you are working on your Heilmeier and you just need a second set of eyes to look over it, make sure you're on the right track, we can certainly help you with that as well. The only thing I will point out is that these one-on-one sessions are not for questions specific to an open BAA. So if you do have questions about today, or everything that you hear about today, those will need to go through Bernie's team. You can send them to me, I'll send them right back to Bernie's team. But certainly anything kind of with a broader lens about working with the agency, succeeding with DARPA, those are all things that we can talk to you about in these one-on-one sessions. And that concludes my briefing. Thank you very much. Again, my name is Sana. I'm with DARPA Connect. You can reach us at darpaconnect.us. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, everybody. With that, I think we're going to take a 15-minute break. And then at which point, then Bernie will come up and start talking about MLP. So we'll see you in 15.
Thank you so much. Good luck.